What's up YouTube, Demi here with another build guide. This is for LemonPrime, my CI Blast Rain Lightning Arrow Pathfinder. This character is designed to be pretty tanky for an archer. We have 7k ES, we have 75-42 block thanks to Ruby's concoction and being Pathfinder. We're pure elemental damage with a lot of Ellie Pen, and we actually have Volpact again thanks to the changes of Volpact, making it life leech per second is doubled, not life from leech applies instantly or whatever it was before. So we can actually leech ES at double the rate of normal. So I'm just going to do a quick Minotaur here so you can see what it looks like at endgame. That's a lot of ball gauntlets. But I've been working on this character since, I don't know, 2.2 maybe. It's been a long time coming for the 3.1 like release. I don't know, I've just been like constantly tweaking and fine-tuning this character as the patches go by and change things. We lost a bunch of ES, we lost Volpact, we got back Volpact. Like, Reflect was removed. I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff that's changed. And it's been really fun just like continuously developing this character throughout the leagues. As I just keep working on it and keep dumping currency into it and keep like improving it and fine-tuning it for you guys to be able to like make your own versions of it. Yeah, as you can see, we're pretty tanky. We are block capped while using Blast Rain, which is our single target setup. And while using Lightning Arrow, we have 58% block and 29% spell block. Damn, I'm getting a lot of returns. I should probably show you guys the tooltips too, huh? Alright, there's your Lightning Arrow DPS for me, with no mirrored gear, nothing like hilariously insane, no legacy crit multi amulet, anything like that. Just decent rares. It's pretty good. I mean, got Diamond Flask and 58% crit, so I think that translates into around 70% effective crit. 70-75 around there for Lightning Arrow. But it's for clearing and you one-shot everything, so it's not a super big deal. And then as for Blast Rain, assuming I don't die, our tooltip is around 112k. Single target. That is, I believe, per explosion if I remember right, and there's 4 to 5 explosions depending on your helm enchant. Procking or not. Dig. Some really weird map names now. But your effective DPS is much higher than your tooltip because it doesn't take into account your penetration, your point blank multipliers, all that good stuff. So most bosses you could just kind of stand here and face tank since you're block capped. Just make sure your flasks are up, and if they're not up, just back off and regen charges. But we got that done in 2 charges, so we're good to go. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about our skill tree and our gear and our links and all that stuff. So, skill tree, we are Pathfinder. Number 1 reason we're Pathfinder, Flask effect, elemental status immunity, and a bunch of penetration. So, in order of priority, you're going to want to go for Nature's Boon first. You get less elemental damage taken, flash charges passively while you just sit in your hideout. Look at this. Dink, it just does that constantly. So if you're in a map when you have 1 portal left, whatever, or you're in a long boss fight or something, you can just back off and your flask will just passively regen. Very handy. You also have a 20% chance for your flasks to not consume any charges at all when you use them. Very also good. We go to Master Alchemist. This gives you immunity to elemental ailments during flask effect, which means no shock, no freeze, no ignite. The shock from your Vingtars is mitigated by your Vingtars. It's kind of dumb. You get increased elemental damage and 20% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. So it's good. It's overall insane, defensively and offensively. Then you go into MacLeod. This gives you Veteran Bowyer. You get 10% of phases extra damage for random element. This doesn't show up on any of your tooltips. You have to use Path of Building to see this damage. But it's just random. Every time you attack something or hit something, you get that extra damage. You get 10% elemental penetration, and then you get enemies you kill that are affected by elemental elements get you 100% increased flash charges. So this gives you 20% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. The fact that you're critting all the time gives you 100% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. So basically everything you kill gets double flash charges gained, which means that your flasks are always full all the time while mapping or whatever, so you just always got flasks running. And then when you go to Uber Lab, which you don't really need as much, you can pick up Nature's Adrenaline, because you movement speed while flasking and attack speed while flasking, so it's pretty strong overall. As for the skill tree itself, there's just a lot of damage. Most of my tree is just pure damage. Like, if I look at my ES nodes on this tree, I have 4 nodes here. I guess 6 nodes if you count the jewel socket. 1 node for CI, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes there. So I have, what is that, 14 nodes related to defense, basically, and the rest is damage. If you have less ES gear than I do, you're going to want to up that a little bit. You probably want to go to grab more ES nodes and put ES on your jewel sockets, stuff like that. Maybe you'll come down here, pick up the Scion ES wheel just to get a lot more ES overall. But I have pretty high tier ES gear, so I don't worry about that as much. Damage stuff, though, where this is all attack speed proj damage. This gives you mana, flash charges gained, and strength in. And we get more mana, flash charges gained, flask effect duration here. So that's what? 40% gained and 100% gained here. It's already 140% flash charges gained, which is just dumb. We head over into Avatar of the Hunt, fizz damage, move speed, jewel socket, go this way. You can, like, it's the same pathing. If you cut this point, put it here. You can't really save points here, so it's like, it just looks weird, but that's the correct way to do it. Come down in here to get point blank. This gives you effectively a 7 link. You get projectile attacks deal 50% more damage to targets at the start of their movement, and it's based off how far the projectile travels from you. So when you're firing lightning arrow long range, these are going to deal less damage. When they, and if they hit here, they do way more damage. But for blast rain, you just kind of stand on the target, shoot at your own feet. You get 50% more damage all the time. Lots of damage for single target, basically. More jewel sockets, Vol Pact, and Vitality Void. So the way that leech works normally is that you can leech 20% of your maximum life or ES per second. So on this character, that's about 1.4k ES or so. And then when you pick up Vol Pact, it doubles that amount. So we have 3% max life here, that puts us at 23% max. Vol Pact doubles it, so we go up to 46% of our maximum life or ES per second, which for this character I think is around 3.5k-ish per second. The more ES you have, the better that becomes, obviously. But Vol Pact does work with CI again, so that's pretty nice. Sorry, which ES again, sorry. The rest of the skill tree, though, this I don't get. A lot of people ask me about why I don't pick up King of the Hill, because it pushes them out of your death range. The way Blast Rain works is you fire into the air and it rains down. Each shot fires 4 to 5 explosions, and those explosions overlap in the center. So if you're pushing them back constantly, you're only going to hit them with like 1 to 2 explosions instead of all 5. Greatly reduces your single target, and it's really, really annoying to deal with in boss fights. So I don't pick it up. But over here we have Lethality for a bunch of crit multi with bows and fizz damage with bows. And we pick up Primeval Force. This gives us a bunch of elemental damage with attacks. 5% LE penetration, so we're at 15% now with this and this. Global, that's Cold Lightning and Fire Pen. You also get LE damage with any flask effect, and LE damage with attack skills. Great. Head up for another jewel socket, more crit multi, and a bunch of attack speed fizz damage with bows nodes here. More jewel sockets, power charge for crit. Ghost Reaver, so we can actually leech to our ES. If you don't pick up this node, all your leech means nothing. Energy shield here. CI, so we can get max life 1, get our bonuses from damage on full life, become immune to chaos damage, all that good stuff. 1 node for reduced mana reservation. More jewel sockets. Some crit multi. Lightning damage with weapons here, and lightning penetration with weapons. We do try to focus on being lightning damage oriented, so that's a good amount of damage there. And some increased effect of shock, so they take more damage while shocked. And then the melding wheel, converted with an energy from within jewel. Normally these gives you life ES. If you use this jewel, it converts all the life to just pure ES. So this one jewel gives me 500 ES, pretty good. And then you're gonna head into the Witch Supercluster nodes, pick up all of the ES that you can here. Grab some AoE, just because it's the shortest path. If you go this way, get more ES, it costs you 2 extra points. So I just go the shortest route to get to the Flask Effect nodes. Another jewel socket and another power charge. Jewels are kind of just pure damage for me here. I have 4 damage prop jewels in every slot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jewels. So if you wanted to get more ES, you could potentially have 7 jewels with 8% ES on them, which is quite a bit. That's 40, what, 56 ES? 40, I don't know, some amount of ES. Math is hard, but I don't do that because I'm pretty comfortable with 7k, but you can go for higher than that if you want. Also, if you have less ES, as we said earlier, just pick up more ES nodes. But my jewels have attack speed with bows is a requirement for me. It's the highest like scaling for us. Normally, a generic attack speed roll is like 3 to 5%. Attack speed with bows is 7 to 8%, so it's just double that. And then the rest of the mods are just damage. Things that scale Blast Rain and Lightning Arrow are something that you want to look for. So you're going to want to get like damage with bows, area damage, projectile damage, crit multi with elemental skills. Generic attack speed works as well. But you have a lot of options. Lightning Arrow and Blast Rain are both projectile, bow, attack skills. So like there's a lot of things that you can potentially get. Just search for like whatever you think you want. I'm pretty happy with most of my jewels. I would like some more crit multi, I think, but I mean, they're pretty insane as is. Like, what's my crit multi? Almost 400%. That's quite a bit. I could potentially get like maybe 450 if I got perfect jewels everywhere, but I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so that's the skill tree. Let's go over the gear. So, for your Blast Rain, you're going to want the highest DPS physical damage Harbinger bow that you can get. This is about 430 DPS. It's not like insane max perfect. You can get up to 600 if you go for a mirrored bow, so you could potentially scale a lot higher than what I have. But that's what I have, and it's pretty good. Quiver for your Blast Rain setup. In order to achieve block cap with your Rumi's Concoction, you're going to need a rear guard. You want the highest block spells roll you can get. The chance to block isn't as important because Rumi's Concoction gives you a lot of block and less spell block. So I have 23% without anything, without Flasks, and then when I push Flasks, 75-42. As for the Corruption, it doesn't really matter that much. The default is 6 to 12 flat phase. That's good as well, but if you can get some conversion to lightning so we can prioritize lightning damage, that's good as well. And then your last unique, or your only other unique besides the rear guard, is your Skyforth Sorcerer's Boots. Skyforth is a lot cheaper than it was before. It's like 10x now. But it gives you power charge on crit, 6% reduced mana reservation, so you can actually use all your auras. And stun threshold is based off 500% of your mana instead of life. So we have about 1500 mana. That translates into about 7500 effective life when it comes to stunning you. So you need to get hit for like 6k plus to actually get stunned. That's pretty hard to do. And then boot enchant wise, you want to go for 10% of, damage penetrates 10% of enemy elemental resist if you haven't killed recently. So that's basically only going to apply on boss fights because you're going to be killing constantly otherwise. But that translates into a 10% penetration for everything just while standing there, which is good. As for the rest of your gear, it's just ES gear. So helm, you're going to want a bunch of ES resists. Accuracy is great. Intelligence is great. Every 5 points of int is 1% energy shield scaling. So every T1 int roll you get is 11% max ES. That's a lot if you can get it. Helm enchant for Blast Rain, you want additional chance. 75% chance for an additional blast. Because it normally has 4 blasts, this gives you a 75% chance to have 5 blasts, which translates into an overall multiplier of around 25-30% more damage from your helm enchant, which is really, really good. Gloves, you're going to go for ES gloves, get as much resist, accuracy, ES as you can. Enchant-wise, you want Commandment of Fury. Commandment of Fury is a projectile cone. It'll fire arrow, like 10 arrows in a row. And it does a ton of damage. Like, just a ridiculous amount of damage. It's kind of dumb, actually, how much damage this does. That's tooltip with just Flasks. We're at 83.5k in hideout, so no frenzies, no power charges. And it fires every 5 seconds. It can't be reflected. You don't have to worry about it. It just helps you clear things. It breaks barrels. It kills mobs off screen. When you're using your weapon swap for lightning arrow, it also forks because of your quiver, and it's just dumb. And then, so I guess we should talk about that next. When you weapon swap for your lightning arrow, which you don't actually need to do, if you don't have access to a 4-arrow Reach of the Council, just put the lightning arrow links in your main bow. But if you have access to it, you can use Reach of the Council with 4 arrows plus a Rigwald's Quill with an additional arrow. So that'll give you 6 arrows on each lightning arrow shot for your clear speed. And then your links for lightning arrow in a reach are lightning arrow, fizz to lightning. So these 2 gems make you 100% lightning damage here. We have increased crits, lightning penetration, elemental damage with attacks, and faster attacks. If you don't have a Legacy Reach, just put GMP here and put all these links in this bow. Let's see, what's the next thing we need to do? Other links, Blast Rain links for your main bow. You have Blast Rain, Fizz to Lightning, Conk Effect, damage on full life, elemental damage with attacks, and faster attacks. Damage on full life applies 100% of the time because we have 1 life. The only time you're not going to have 1 life is if you're dead, so you get this bonus all the time. Your Helm links, I have a level 4 Enlighten with Hatred and Discipline, and then a random 1-link Frenzy to keep up your Frenzy charges on boss fights. In my boots, I have a Blink Arrow, and then we have a Herald of Ice, Curse on Hit, Poacher's Mark. Poacher's Mark is actually really underrated. It gives you cursed enemies have 100% increased flash charges, so they give you double flasks, same as double flasks here. So we have around 240% flash charges gained off each kill. So every 1 flash charge you would gain off a single kill, you actually get 2.4. It's kind of dumb. And then it also gives you frenzy charges when you kill things, so that's more damage, more attack speed, whatever. Less evasion, which translates into a more accuracy multiplier for yourself. because my accuracy rating is, what, I have 92% chance to hit, but this actually means that they have half the normal evasion, so they're even easier to hit, so it gives us a ton more accuracy. They also give you mana when hit with attacks, so that helps you leech. I don't know, it's just a really good skill. But keep in mind, the only thing that actually curses here is the explosions from Herald Device. So that's why I don't use Elemental Focus on my Lightning Arrow thing, because if we use that, we can't apply Shock, Freeze, Ignite, so we can't actually explode things and curse them with Herald Device. Other random links, we have a cast when damage taken, summon Ice Golem, because I'm lazy and don't like self-casting. And then we have Projectile Weakness. This is our damage curse. When things hit us, and then we want them to die fast, this gives us 55% increased damage from projectile hits to those enemies. So that's a 55% more multiplier on top of your point blank, your other penetration, all that stuff. We also have a random vortex here. You could swap this out for Frostbomb, but I like the AoE chill around my feet. I think it's just kind of a nice thing to happen. I'd probably recommend throwing in Frostbomb though. And then what other links are there? I think that's all the links. Oh, actually, sorry. This random 6-link setup. This is if you don't have, or if you do have Reach of the Council, you have a random open 6-link. You could throw in a Siege Ballista totem here. I just threw a cast when damage taken setup in because I didn't really want to do anything else. But cast when damage taken, Immortal Call gives you 0.4 seconds of Fizz immunity. Really nice for taking spike damage or porcupines or whatever if it gets through our block chance. Then we got a Frost Bomb. This translates into -20 cold resistance. And we have a fair amount of cold damage because we're using Hatred. So that's good. We also have Arctic Breath GMP, just throws out a bunch of projectiles that leave chilled ground, and then we have a Culling Strike as well. So when things are hitting us, they're getting hit by Arctic Breath, and then they have they just get called at 10% or less life, which is just nice overall clear. So I didn't go over Amulet. Amulet, you want Fizz damage to attacks. Wed is good, ES is good, Quick Multi is good, Accuracy is good, Resist, Stats, whatever else you're missing, get it here. Rings, the best DPS for this build is actually Opal Rings, but those didn't exist when I got my rings, so I just didn't worry about changing it. But perfect damage rings will be Fizz to attacks, Weapon Elemental damage, ES, and then suffix-wise for damage you can get Crit Multi, you can get Attack Speed, you can get Accuracy, but I need resistances, so I go for Resist here and Accuracy. And then this one is very similar. It's damage, Wed, ES, Accuracy, Resist. And then Belt, this is where things can get a little interesting because of the new Stygian bases. You could potentially craft a Stygian Vice with Hysteria penetration on it, Essence of Hysteria. This gives you 5% elemental penetration during any Flask effect, which is 100% of the time as a Pathfinder, so it's a lot more damage overall. Just standing in my hideout with a Flask up, I'm at 25, 25, 39 pen. And then additional penetration here. It's just, you get a lot of penetration. So you want Wed on your belt, you want ES, you want Resist, you probably want Strength. If you can get Flask Effect Duration, that's cool, but you don't really need it. And then I don't think we talked about Flasks yet, really. So Taste of Fate, this is our Fizz mitigation. This is also maximum cold res, and it's extra cold damage. So it's like a trifecta. You get defense, you get offense, and you get even more resist. It's great. You go for a Diamond Flask here. This effectively lets you roll your crit chance twice. So if you have a 50% chance to crit, you roll that once, and then you roll it again, and it'll choose between those two. So it'll take the higher one every time. It's pretty good. Then we have Immune to Bleed here, because we're immune to ailments everywhere from using any flask. And then we go for a Rumi's Concoction. This is Altar Double Legacy. But just get the highest chance to block you can. The further back you go, the more block Rumi's has. So, like, this is just, you just get a lot of block from it. I think the default now is 2010. Which would put us from, where's my block? 23 to I think like 58-ish block with the non-legacy version. And the single legacy will put you to basically cap, and then double legacy way over cap. And then for your Quicksilver, you want to go for movement speed and reduce charges used most likely. Vinktars is just OP. If you can get a legacy one, go for the penetration or flat lightning to attacks. Either one's really good. Penetration slightly better. And I think that's all the links, and all the gear, and all the things. Yeah, this build's pretty fun. I love it a lot. I've been working on it forever. It also is very good in PvP, so if you want to swap to a PvP setup, what I do is I actually just drop the Lightning Arrow setup entirely, and then if I want to farm Grandmasters, I just take off this, and I'll throw in a Zergle's Crank. This is in case we get stuck on like a AFK Aegis cast when damage taken build that we can't kill. Normally I can, but there's one named Zombie that I struggle with occasionally. So I use Scorching Ray, Empower, LE Focus, Control Destruction, Swift Affliction, and Burning Damage to kill that guy. But normally you don't need to do that. You just use your Blast Rain setup, and instead of faster attacks, take that out, put in Block Chance Reduction, and swap to a Block Chance Reduction bow. This is about 400 DPS with 15% block pen on it. And this is another 35% block pen, so that's negative 50 block chance. Somebody has 75-75 block, they now have 25-25 block. Aegis builds don't matter anymore at that point. And for Flasks, we swap two things. We need to be immune for curses for PvP, so we take off our Bleed Flask, put on a Curse Immune Flask, take off our Quicksilver Flask, and put on a Bleed Ruby Flask. The reason I choose Ruby here is because we have Cold and Lightning already, so if we use those 3 flasks, we're at 83, 83, 83 all res, and we're block capped for PvP. Pretty good, very hard to kill, still decently fast, but Grandmasters, I mean, it doesn't really matter, and then you just like put in all of these normal links back over here. But yeah, that's the build guide for LemonPrime. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, share it with your friends. Join me on Twitch as I stream this game all the time, and over on Discord. Also, all of the links are in the description below the video, as is the forum guide for this if you want like a written out version of it. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. That'll be Demi out.